It was certainly Limerick below par. There's no doubt about that. But that in some ways would be disrespectful to Davy Fitzgerald and Waterford, because a lot of it was the way that Waterford set themselves out, and I think they brought a level of intensity and a level of work rate to the game that that Limerick certainly didn't expect. And apart from the first 10 minutes when Limerick were completely on top, they found it hard to match it, and you would wonder as the game went on, would they be able to sustain it? But they did. And you could have had a different result had Waterford been a bit more clinical with the target in sight. The scoring or the wide statistics do not make good reading for Limerick. They had 6 wides, Clare, or Waterford had 13, and some of the wides late in the game from Waterford came from players that you're back at your house on to put them over the bar, but they didn't. I suppose a bit of it maybe was from the pressure of the Limerick defence, but I'll tell you, the sweetest sound I had for a long, long time, Jack, was the referee's final whistle last Sunday evening.
Yeah, there was a good roar on Thurles when that went out. Oh, and Matt mentioned there the kind of work rate and the intensity, and that's something that was clear that Clare brought last year in those 2 games, and they'll really need to hit the heights there just to kind of try and rattle Limerick, because to be fair to Limerick, they are so composed in any sort of scenario, as we saw against Clare last year with the red card and against Waterford with the red card again.
Yeah, look, and you know what? It was a strange thing in Cusack Park on Sunday as well, that there wasn't really that physical edge. You'd expect that from Clare and Tipperary. I mean, we've seen it over the years, but I don't think Clare put in a big tackle, a big shoulder or anything like that you would suggest. It was very unusual, actually, because with all that was at stake, you'd expect it to be a very, very intense game. It wasn't actually. It was more tactically done. I think the goals obviously messed up that as well, but you think that even out of frustration at some stage you'd hit a shoulder or you'd make a big tackle or something like that, but that wasn't the case, and I think we're going to have to do it. I mean, if you remember the Munster final, I mean, the first 10 minutes there, John Keenan swallowed the whistle, and it was a free-for-all there. It was really, really manly stuff, and I think Clare had to step up in terms of physicality. I mentioned that over the 3 years, and I think they got to that kind of peak last year, but they're going to have to rediscover it again. We're going to have to play with more fire and brimstone than the tactical stuff, I think. We've tried it a couple of different ways against Limerick. It hasn't worked. Obviously, you're going to have your basic tactics to ensure that you don't get mauled at the same time. But I think we are going to have to play with a lot of heart and a lot of character in order to really get back and get the crowd behind them, the Clare crowd, because there'll be a good Clare crowd there as well. I mean, it's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere, as there always is between Clare and Limerick, no matter